She had never missed a flight in her life. Not once. Not in 15 years of running a multi-million-dollar company. Not through storms, not through power outages, not through heartbreak. But that morning, the morning that changed her life, she missed her private jet. And for the first time, Elena Rowe, CEO of Rotech International, found herself in a crowded airport terminal, clutching a paper cup of coffee that had long gone cold, waiting for a seat on a commercial flight. She had no idea that fate had just rearranged her life. The meeting in Zurich had run late. Elena's driver had gotten stuck behind a pileup on the highway. By the time she reached the private terminal, her jet had already taken off, without her. Her assistant was panicking, offering to rebook another private charter, but the earliest slot was 6 hours later. 6 hours. For Elena Rowe, that was an eternity. She made a quick decision. Book me on the next commercial flight. Her assistant blinked. Coach or first class? Elena hesitated. Anything that leaves within the hour. Minutes later, she found herself in a line she hadn't stood in for decades. Airport security. Her designer heels clicked against the linoleum as she tried to stay calm. This wasn't supposed to happen to her. CEOs didn't miss flights. CEOs didn't carry their own luggage. And CEOs definitely didn't fly economy. But that day she did. Her seat was 17B, middle row back of the plane, squeezed between a young mother with a crying baby and a man in a worn denim jacket who looked like he hadn't slept in days. The man offered her a polite nod as she sat down, fumbling with her laptop. She didn't plan to talk. She never did. Work was her armor, her way of keeping the world at a distance. But as the plane took off, the baby beside her started wailing. The young mother was nearly in tears herself, apologizing to everyone around her. The man in the denim jacket smiled softly and started making funny faces at the baby, who suddenly giggled. Something in Elena's chest tightened. She turned her laptop off. Kids are amazing, the man said, turning slightly toward her. You just have to meet them where they are. She nodded, unsure why she was even responding. You seem good with them. He smiled faintly. You get good when it's all on you. His name was Jack. He was a mechanic from Boston, heading home after visiting his son in a children's hospital across the country. His boy, Owen, was 8 years old, bright, funny, and battling leukemia. Elena listened in silence, the hum of the plane fading as his story unfolded. I used to work full-time, Jack said. But after Owen got sick, I started taking odd jobs. I can't be gone too long. He gets scared when I'm not around. He smiled, but there was sadness behind it. He says he wants to fix airplanes one day. Guess that's his way of saying he wants to fly. Elena didn't know what to say. Her life was filled with deals, mergers, deadlines. Not stories about fathers who sold their trucks to pay hospital bills. When the flight attendant passed by, Elena bought him a sandwich and coffee. He looked startled. You didn't have to. I know, she said softly. But I wanted to. As the hours passed, the conversation deepened. Jack asked her what she did for a living. She hesitated. I run a company. What kind of company? Tech. We build things that make businesses run faster. He nodded slowly. Do they make people's lives better? Her breath caught in her throat. It was such a simple question. But no one had ever asked her that before. I don't know, she admitted quietly. For years, Elena had built her empire around efficiency, profit, systems growth. But now, sitting next to a single dad who lived paycheck to paycheck, she realized she hadn't built something that touched hearts. When the plane landed, Jack thanked her for the sandwich and wished her luck. He didn't ask for her number or her name. He just smiled and disappeared into the crowd. But Elena couldn't forget him. Chapter 5. A name that wouldn't leave her mind. Back in her office the next morning, Elena sat through a meeting about expanding automation systems, technology that would replace hundreds of jobs. It was her idea. But when she looked around the table at her team, all she could see was Jack's tired face and Owen's dream of fixing airplanes. She interrupted mid-presentation. Stop. Everyone froze. Maybe, she said slowly, we shouldn't be building things that take people's purpose away. Maybe we should build things that give people hope. Her board stared at her as if she'd gone mad, but something had shifted inside her. A seed planted in seat 17B. Weeks passed, but she couldn't shake the memory. One evening, she searched online for hospitals in Boston that treated pediatric leukemia. She didn't even know his last name, only that his son's name was Owen. After calling multiple hospitals, one receptionist finally recognized the name Owen Callahan. "Yes," the woman said. "He's still in treatment but doing better. His father's always here. You can leave a message." Elena didn't hesitate. "Please tell him the woman from seat 110B says thank you." A few days later, she received a handwritten letter at her office. "I didn't think you'd remember us. Owen loved the toy airplane you sent. Thank you for caring, Jack." That letter changed everything. Elena founded the Owen Project, a program dedicated to funding medical technology for children's hospitals. Designed by her own company, she shifted Rotech's focus from profit to purpose, from replacing people to empowering them. Months later, she visited Boston. Owen had just finished another round of chemo. His hair was thin, but his smile was wide.
"Miss Elena,"
he said, running to her. "Dad says you build stuff that helps people." She laughed, tears stinging her eyes. "Well, I'm trying to." Jack stood beside her, speechless. "You didn't have to do all this." "Maybe I did," she said softly, "because you reminded me what really matters. But life doesn't always stay kind." A few months later, Owen's condition worsened. Despite every treatment, every prayer, his little heart gave up one quiet night in spring. Elena attended the funeral. Jack was hollow-eyed, holding a small paper airplane in his hands. One Owen had folded himself. "He said he'd fly one day," Jack whispered. "Wessie got his wings after all." Elena wept beside him, not as a CEO, not as a businesswoman, but as a friend who'd been changed forever. A year later, Rotech unveiled a new children's medical transport drone, designed to deliver emergency medication to hospitals faster than ambulances could. The name painted on every aircraft, Project Owen. At the launch event, Elena spoke through tears. "I missed my flight once," she said, "and it led me to someone who taught me that success means nothing if it doesn't touch lives. Sometimes the detours, the missed flights, the wrong turns, lead us exactly where we're meant to be." In the front row, Jack sat quietly, eyes shining. When the first drone took off, he whispered, "Fly high, buddy." Years later, Elena would still tell that story whenever people asked about her company's change of heart. "I used to think missing my jet was bad luck," she'd say, "but it was the best thing that ever happened to me." Because sometimes life delays you on purpose. Sometimes, the people you meet by accident are exactly the ones you need to find. If this story touched your heart, take a moment to think about the people who've changed your life. The unexpected ones who reminded you what really matters. Maybe you met them by chance. Maybe you almost didn't. But sometimes missing your flight means finding your purpose. Have you ever had a missed flight moment? Something that went wrong but led you somewhere beautiful? And if this story inspired you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share so more people can hear it. This is Be Kind Always, reminding you, you never know whose life you might change just by sitting next to them.